Hey everybody, Kevin Schulthies here, CHPKevin for the Christian Heritage Party running in South Shore St. Margarets in the 2019 federal election. Big riding west of Halifax and across the province. Fairly big riding. And we just finished tonight, a few hours ago, our last big debate with 9 candidates, which I kind of actually use as it's both some of the best in Canada and the worst in Canada's voting system because there's a lot of parties with a lot of good ideas, but only one person gets their voice represented. And a lot of parties, people have to vote split, throw their votes away, um, and kind of strategically vote, and it makes them sick. And so many Canadians want to be disengaged. Um, when if we had electoral reform, like our last major government that got into power promised, that's one thing. The current two powers that the current powers when first past post devolves it over years into two parties. It's kind of like a blue and red. Then those parties do not want electoral reform. And surprise, surprise, the Conservatives and the Liberals are absolutely against it. At least the Conservatives are just saying we're not going there, and the Liberals at least, hey, they just lied to every Canadian and then spit on them later on. That being said, it's one of my all-time major top platform pillars that I'm standing on is the electoral reform. So it was really good. 9 candidates. It was fairly well hosted. We have to with that many candidates, you don't get that much time to talk about any one particular topic. You kind of have to rapid fire everything. I stuck to my 5 top things. Climate change is always on everybody's choice. That's not one of uh, we're not alarmists and whatnot. It's easy to pander to say, hey, we're going to change the world and we're going to change it. No, we want actually small governments focused and give the powers to the provinces and municipalities and put as much money into the individual's pocket as possible so that you and your municipality can change the world and do some things. If I were to do anything and allocate a bunch of funds and do some amazing things, it probably would have been. I didn't get to bring it up tonight, but literally defund the majority of the CBC. We actually had and allocate those funds to internet, mass internet across Canada that would literally transform our internet pricing, our high-speed access, which is such a vital service nowadays, and at the same time literally create so many jobs. When you actually open up a tool set, you actually open up infrastructure. Internet is the new infrastructure, right? You can have 0 roads, but if you have high-speed internet and a cell phone, high-speed internet, and a computer, you can change the world. You can have millions of followers. We can add computer networks and new media outlets and everything, all from decentralizing um, an old outdated idea such as the CBC, right? Tell us that like federal government's really good at doing certain things, building infrastructure that doesn't quite make commercial sense initially, but if you build it, they will come, chicken and the egg. If a federal government steps in, deals with it, and then has a plan to exit themselves, then that's amazing. So Canada, this actually does 2 in 1 thing. You want to know what? I'm going to get into that later. Check out that video. I'm going to have a video somewhere down below. I'm going to do a video on that. I had the death of the CBC as one of my videos and kind of encouraging people to change it so it makes things, gives jobs and decentralizes media and the propaganda. And Canadian government should get out of destroying our local media, destroying all the commercial media. Let them do what they need to do. Get out of certain things. Stop bribing everybody. And then on top of that, we need to increase the infrastructure of the internet. I'm going to make a video on that. let's get back to tonight's topic. The debate was amazing. All the candidates were amazing. So this was the last debate. I was very thoroughly impressed with some of the speakers, not impressed with a few others. I'm really glad we had a couple of independents. They did well, and which was great. It was great to listen to and hear the People's Party. Canada, they kind of came out of nowhere. So it was kind of interesting to hear some refreshing points of view, at least with this particular candidate in my particular riding. So he was fine, and but that might vary based on riding from riding. The party platform might be okay, but then you get individual people that can have different ideas and different thoughts. But I believe the People's Party is a good refresh for Canada to be able to stand on some certain things too. We had a few other party members. Surprisingly, throughout the event, I would have thought certain candidates would have been stronger, and they were not. And certain other ones were decently strong, but that would have been kind of maybe comes with the territory of being like an incumbent or something like that. So I fully expected the bar on an incumbent to be actually pretty darn high because they have at minimum 4 years of typically practice, right? So they would have won their seat initially, most likely 4 years ago, and then they would have had 4 years of events and public on our public dollar and the money that they take from us, to do whatever they want to do. So either way, it's been quite fun. There was a few blunders and a few things that I would slip up on, or I'd say something dumb, and I'm like, I shouldn't have said that or something. But yeah, so I had a few blunders and such, and being my first time, not at public speaking or anything like that, but I had a bunch of notes. I tried to stay on topic, but because the timing was so tough, man, like there is no way you could even just comment on other issues without somehow going off point, and then you run out of time, and then so it wasn't almost like how many things I wish I didn't say. It's like, man, I wish I could have said this, and then you're like rewind in your head, you're like, oh man, like I should have, like rapid fire bullet points. Like if you got a ton of topics thing and you got 90 seconds to talk about it or something, it's like boom 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 boom. You can't comment on different things. You have to make notes as you have to almost adjust as you're going, because some of the other parties would say something and you almost want to comment or counter that, or sometimes they leave something on one debate and then like you want to hit it, and then you also want to adjust to your audience. You want to play to your audience that's in there, because of course they are sensitive to certain issues, and you can like order them. Not that you have to, if you have like our party platform, there's like 50 kind of main highlight points. Of course, there's always some of the bigger ones, and then there's certain ones that your party might be known for or something, of which you may or may not even talk about, right? I actually like talking to the root causes of issues, which isn't necessarily, none of the other parties ever talk about it. So and I actually think they're root causes of issues, to get more people to actually have voices at the table, and do not. And then it was a balance between being a watchman and warning people about the evils and the wrongs of our past governments and what they've done, and the warnings of what they will be doing or what they won't be doing, the warning about them, so kind of almost negative stuff. And then you try to be positive with what hope and what you're bringing to the table and what solutions you're bringing to the table. And like you can't do that in 90 seconds. And then over 5 questions, if you even get 5 questions, and then when you have there is no debate. They kind of call it a debate. All of them almost are never a debate. You almost never get back or forth or banter. You get a handful of audience questions if you even have time, because we had 9 candidates in our riding, and it made it tough. So I'm over the weeks and months. I'm going to continue to put out videos on individual topics, um, what I stand for and whatnot, for both prosperity, for this past election, whatever comes. It's what is it, Friday night? No, Thursday night, and then in a few days we're going to have the election. So whatever happens, it is what it is. But the nice thing I know about YouTube and videos is, man, you put out stuff and they will be there 4 years for next election, 8 years for the next one after that, and you can hold me accountable to what I've said. Hopefully I hopefully get a whole lot better, more refined, increase my abilities. Maybe we can grow a bit of an EDA and get a media center going, and actually get way better at getting our pointed message across. You might think I ramble a bit, and I do, and I apologize for that. But definitely, if I stand on any principles and stand on root causes of issues, hopefully you're passionate. Hopefully you can partner with me on that. Could use your love, support, your time, your energy, and definitely your prayers. So I definitely appreciate everybody. It's been an absolute fun running with all the other 9 candidates. I appreciate them putting their hat in the ring. I wish we were under a different proportional representation system. Who knows? Maybe come, in the future, maybe we can get a couple. Maybe we win a seat or two. Be like the Greens, fight for 30 years, get a seat, and then you're at the table, and then you're kind of noticed, and you get to capture a bunch of your own headlines and stuff, and then people want to listen to you, and then you might be there at one seat for a few more elections, and hopefully you hang on to it. Maybe you go to 2, maybe you go to 4, 6, 8. I don't know. But if we can get some proportional representation to Canada, that would be amazing. If we can get more voices to the table, that would be amazing. We get more people engaged in Canada politics versus disengaged versus disinterested versus upset versus we have to stop. This last year has been crazy with the media. I said, first of all, first past the post is degenerates into craziness to begin with. Number two, we are in a time and age with mass media has never been so rapid fire, so divisive, so easy to get a message out in a good way, but it's also easy to get like crazy divisive messages out like wildfire in a bad way too. So and the systems reward that, and even traditional media and everything, not just algorithms and computers and systems and search engines. Not only does that favor extreme points of view and controversy, traditional media kind of, as they say, if it bleeds, it leads, or if it's super controversial drama, and stirs up frustration and emotion, then that gets them more attention. So usually we have this. We're in for a world of hurt here over the next 4 years, with still not proportional representation, still not very many bullied. Hopefully we have a minority government for the rest of Canada's existence and have more and more voices, and we get a hint of it this time around, and then maybe we'll run and be able to get additional voices to the table next time and win a seat or 2 or 4 or 5, 6, something. Get a percentage. Get 2, 3, 4, 5% of the seats. We get, and then have a whole bunch of other parties that have 2, 3, 4, 5, 10% of the seats. Have our liberals or conservatives. Let them have. They can be at the table even if they have their issues. Let them have 5, 10, 15% of the seats, And when we come to the table, there's some good green ideas, good NDP ideas, something like that. Um, and if we can actually, the saying is there's freedom in the gaps of, compromise and bickering and discussion and working through issues. That is where the freedom is. So if you get a lot of voices to the table and you get a bunch of different people to the table, a bunch of different industries, you get a media, you get family members to the table and be parliamentary MPs and stuff. You get business owners. Get business owners represented at the MP level. When you get your spiritual and religious and your community-minded people, get them to the table. They have some valuable things. You get indigenous people, you get rural people, you get urban people, um, so that they can kind of complain about their issues, bring it to the table. You have to all work together, pass some things, compromise stuff. You don't have crazy budgets. Uh, Everything's out in the open because everybody's fighting over it. You can't hide things anymore. And yeah. But anyways, congratulations. That's my rambling for now. I will do another couple videos before the end of the election. And then on top of that, I will continue to pump out topical videos. Um, and then I'll probably do one of two things, both as a CHP member and then also as a separate entity that hopefully can get some pressure on things. I wish I really hammered on the. I got. I wish overall, probably the only thing I wish I would have got out more, and I really wanted like 5 years, 4.5 years ago when I first learned about stuff about our churches being silent. I was wondering where Christian brothers and sisters were across Canada. Why are they silent? Why are churches silent? Why is our pastors and other things aren't doing nothing? We have freedom of religion. We can speak up. But when I opened up the Pandora's box and found out that our churches, which and if they are a CRA charity, which 99.9% of them probably are, then none of their assets, they don't own their assets, and they are run by the government, what they can and can't say. And I'm not a fan of that, and we need to free up our churches so that we can actually practice our freedom of religion, and not have our souls sold for the love of money. And they need to vote in somebody. I'm the only one that's actually speaking up for that. Nobody's ever brought it up, I don't think, in all of Canada. And I might be the only ones opening up that cause. So hopefully 4 years from now, I spoke on it at this front. We actually have a message and a platform that actually can change that. The fair tax system, if you eliminate the income tax and switch to the fair tax system, then you don't need a charity act to actually give tax donations to reduce your income tax, because if we reduce your income tax to zero, you pay no income tax, well then you don't need charitable status, because people have 100% of the money that they earn and they can give whatever amount of money they want to the government, and they get maximum value on their money, and their charities get maximum dollar, and giving can actually go up when we give you your entire paycheck, and then you can support the causes that you want. And I'm fighting for every charity, including topics and charities that I might not agree with, but that's okay. I also want to free up the billions of dollars for all charities so that Canada can be more vocal and get more voices to the table. So thank you everybody for paying attention. Thank you for your love, prayer, and support. Could always use your donations for our local EDA. If you do not have a local EDA, you want to get involved, you have questions, I'd love to answer them for you guys. Starting EDAs in your area, we're needing 2 Christians technically per, we need literally less than 700 Christian Canadians to actually stand up and say, hey, we're going to represent our area. You technically need two to run an EDA. You need a president and you need a treasurer. And you don't have to meet very often. You can meet very, yeah, you don't, you should be meeting often, and the standard should be, up here, but at the same time, um, sometimes you got to plant a flag first, let a few people plant flags, and then you can like stabilize and establish a beachfront. Get landed on the beach first, right? And then you hold the front, and then you can plant your troops, and your rest of your army can come on board onto the beach and establish some ground, and then you can take further ground and further ground. So we need a handful of Christians per riding. So if you've never heard of the CHP, get involved. If you have and you wonder why we're not bigger, get involved. If you never had anybody in your area and you have no idea if there is any, there probably isn't. We need two good Christians to stand up and plant a flag and stand up for truth. Doesn't mean you actually run. You just start an EDA. But then when you have an EDA, that gets more people recognized. When you have an EDA, you actually got financial. You can actually take in donations federal for the federal issues, and you can actually then run for certain causes. You can have the CHP. Your EDA can actually support and do different events or different things, and have that funded via the EDA federal party, because we are a federal party. And yeah, so that's that. So we need your input. We need you guys. So enough rambling. It's late. It's like 12:30, and I will talk to you guys later. And here's some blessings on everybody that's going to go vote. Go vote. We have that opportunity. We have that freedom. You really should educate yourself on and study up on everybody's platform. I don't care if I don't care if you don't think you're going to vote a certain party. My suggestion is research every single person's platform in your area and just go from there, right? So anyways, that is that. So talk to you later. Bye. If you like that video, feel free to hit that subscribe button to catch all my other videos. And as they come out, give me a thumbs up. Much appreciated. Share the video around. And of course, check out the other websites and other links down below.